What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Saturday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault, at Sports Talk Matt to follow me on Twitter. This podcast being brought to you by BetMGM and the offer for new users, which is a $1,000 first bet offer with the promo code JUICE at BetMGM.com. All right, this podcast is being taped in the afternoon on Friday. I have an event that I'm going to tonight, so I don't think I'm going to be able to tape it. So I wanted to tape this early to kind of get out of the way, and I don't have to worry too much about coming home and taping it. So it's early. I do not know what happened tonight for the card on Friday night. So just FYI, we're going into Saturday. There are no basketball games today. We have one game in the playoffs for hockey. We're getting down to the bare bones here. So I don't know what happened last night. Only one game in the playoffs at all. Sunday, it's got the potential for 2 Game 7s on Mother's Day, which is incredible. But Saturday is going to be a little light. Thus, the card's going to be a little light. We have a UFC event during the day on ABC. I got a bet in the main event to give you guys here in just 1 second. I got a baseball play and a hockey play for us on a Saturday. But before we do that, let's have a conversation a little bit about the BettingPros app. Have you guys downloaded the BettingPros app yet? It is free to do so. Android, iOS, you can follow experts. You get top-rated bettors and bettors on hot streaks to get instant notification on when they place new bets. You can customize notifications by the sport, so you guys will receive the alerts that you want for the sports that only interest you. You can even limit the alerts you get to only historically ROI positive markets of the bettors that you follow on the BettingPros app. Take advantage of these features and more by downloading the BettingPros app by visiting bettingpros.com/apps or by searching BettingPros in the App Store. Again, bettingpros.com/apps to download the BettingPros app today. All right. These bets are pretty simplistic except for the UFC one, okay? The first one is Seattle and Dallas. What are we betting? It's 6 from a total perspective. Think we're betting under? We've hit every single one of these games so far in the playoffs involving Seattle and Dallas, including some in the regular season. We're 8 for 8. What are we betting? Over 6 minus 110. We're going to lose one of these times, but I'm not fading this. I'm not stopping the streak. We're betting the streak on this. I don't care where the game is being played. It's in Seattle, so we know that the Kraken are going to be fired up trying to keep themselves alive. I think Dallas wins the game. I lean towards Dallas to win and win the series, but I think the game goes over. It's an elimination game. Another reason why you want to bet the over. Go ahead and jump in on that. Like we saw last night, though, with an elimination game, it was a 3-2 final. Okay, that could happen. There could be a 3-2 final tonight. That's not crazy, okay? But 4-2 is far more likely. And we haven't seen one of these games yet land 6 or below 6. Every game, 8 of them, between Dallas and Seattle, every game has had 6 goals or more. Over 6, Dallas and Seattle, minus 110, 1.1 units down on that. Bet number 2, it's time to start to fade the bad teams in baseball. The Rangers are at the Oakland A's, who have a grand total of 3 wins at home this season. I mean, it's really bad right now for the A's. Now they could have won last night, okay? They lost the first game of this schedule. They lost it 4-0 to the Rangers. So we don't know what happened here on a Friday night heading into a Saturday. These two teams played where we had Perez against Waldichuk. Perez has been pretty good for Texas, so I'm guessing the Rangers probably won this game. They would have taken 2 of the first 2 games in this 4-game series. But here we are on a Saturday. It's a little dangerous to bet baseball this far in advance. I totally understand this, but the A's are 3-16. That could be 3-17 at home. This game's on Fox Sports 1, so you get a nationally televised audience on this. It's Gray for Texas against Sears for Oakland, who is much better at home than he is on the road. He has an ERA over 7 on the road, but 2.5 at home. 3 good starts, including the last one where he didn't give up a run at home in his last home start. But he's on the road. He's horrendous. Now, the Rangers do hit lefties fairly well. Their team total is 4.5. I think that goes over. The A's are right now the second most profitable. Or is it fourth most profitable? No, second most profitable team to bet overs. Boston is 1 at 67.6% of the time. Oakland is 2 at 64.9% of the time. Then Atlanta, and then Texas at number 4. So first game was 4-0. Friday night probably went over. I don't know, but if it doesn't go over, you could bet team total Texas over 4.5 or the game over and feel pretty good. But since I'm betting so far in advance here, I'm just going to bet money line and fade the bad teams. The Oakland A's are done. They know they're done. They're moving somewhere. It may not be Vegas, but they're moving somewhere. They're just such a bad baseball team. They're 8-31 on the year. Going into last night, they had lost 5 games in a row. I think it's going to be 6 games in a row up against Texas. And these are the games where Texas knows they're 23-14 going into Friday, so probably 24-14. The Angels are not closely behind them, but they've got to get some distance between themselves and the Astros before Altuve comes back. You got to beat up these bad teams for the Rangers. I know it's expensive. I rarely ever lay this type of juice at minus 160 that you can get at Caesar Sportsbook. I never lay 1.6 units down, but this is a unique set of circumstances, and because I'm betting on Friday afternoon for a Saturday afternoon game, which is I normally wait until we get to a little bit later on into the day and we see how the numbers go, I'm just going to do it. If we lose this, my whole day is blown up, basically, because I'm going to lose 1.6 units on one play, and it's going to be really hard. I could win the other 2 bets and basically be up 0.4, barely even be 2-1 and be barely profitable. So this is a dangerous bet, I'll admit it. But Texas is 23-14, probably 24-14. Oakland's 8-31, probably 9-30 or 8-32. I'd prefer it if Oakland won Friday night, to be quite honest, because then I like this bet even more. If Oakland wins Friday night, Texas comes back. I'm going to lay the 1.6 units down on Texas just to win, okay? I like the over. Team total is minus 135, over 4.5 runs. If you don't want to bet the juice, you can do that. Or bet the over for the game. Oakland, number 2. Texas, number 4. For the most profitable over teams so far in Major League Baseball. You can just come in here if you want to say, all right, Matt, I'm not laying that juice. It's too expensive. I'm going to lay the 8.5. It's minus 120 to the over, 8.5. My gut tells me that probably closes at 9. Oh, sorry, that's on Friday. Hold on, let me tell you what Saturday is. It reverted back to Friday's schedule. Hold on. Let's see. That's Friday, and then where's that game? There it is. It's 8.5 minus 115, so a little cheaper there. So you can jump in on that if you want. Sears has been good at home, like I mentioned, though. So there's a little bit of a fear factor that the game might go under with Sears if he is really good. First 5 under type of thing. If Gray's good and Sears good, just take the win here. Minus 160. Rangers on the money line, minus 160. Even money on the run line. Go that route if you want as well. But as somebody once said in the Discord channel, you only pay the juice if you lose. 1.6 units down. Okay? So we're going Rangers money line, 1.6 units there. And we're going with the over 6 for the Stars at 1.1 units. Now, the UFC event that is happening, it's fight night, but it's not really fight night because it's happening in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is going to be an earlier time than what we are really used to. It is, let me see the exact time of this that this is going to go off for this fight, because I know it's in the afternoon on ABC. It is at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time. It is a 11:30 in the morning. So the main event probably starts somewhere around like 2 o'clock or so Eastern time, 11:30 my time for this. It's Rosenstrike against Almeida. We're going to talk about the main event here, okay? Almeida is a big, big favorite, minus 210 at certain books, okay? Rosenstrike is a guy who has never been finished, but Almeida is 5:21 average fight time, so under 1.5 rounds is live, but it's minus 210. He is a heavyweight who submits people, which makes him a young prospect that is extremely rare. He knocked out his last opponent, whose name I cannot pronounce. He then submitted his next 2 opponents and then knocked out Marquez and then submitted his first opponent in the UFC. 5 fights, 5 wins, all of them being finishes. This is his first fight. It is a showcase fight, okay? This is a chance the company believes this guy needs a name on his resume, and Rosenstrike is that type of guy. Again, Rosenstrike has never been finished, okay? Last fight against Christakis, knocked him out. He lost 3 of his previous 4 fights, however, okay? Including losses to Cyril Gahn, Curtis Blades, and Alexander Volkov. He got a decision on the 2 against Gane and Blades, and then Volkov, he knocked him out in the first round. The last time he was stopped was against Francis Ngannou back on the May of 2020. It's been a long time since Rozenstruik has been stopped, okay? So I'm concerned about betting the under 1.5 rounds, even though I do think that's live. To knock out Rozenstruik is not going to be easy. However, Almeida is just a machine in the heavyweight division, and I think he's going to be diving for takedowns, trying to take down Rozenstruik as much as possible. Takedown defense isn't bad, okay? 75% takedown defense for Rozenstruik. That's not anything to be sorry about. It's, we're talking about a guy who has 0 takedown average per 15 minutes versus 6.7 takedowns on average per 15 minutes for Almeida. He's going to try it. He has decent takedown defense, but he tries 2 or 3 submission attempts every single time he fights, but he could win by knockout. He could. I don't think he will, but he could just because he gets him on the ground and then ground and pounds, and he winds up winning the fight that way. So I'm going to split the unit in half. It's plus 198 for Almeida by knockout versus a minus 110 by Almeida by submission, okay? So I'm going to still lay the 1.1 units down, but it's a half a unit down at plus 198 by knockout, and I'm going to take 0.6 down to win a half a unit coming back, or 0.55 down to win a half a unit coming back. So it's really 1.05 to go ahead and lay it by by submission rather, okay? So if he wins by knockout is what we want. It's sort of a cover on this when it comes to submission, but I think he does end up winning this fight. There's a couple different ways you can play this if you don't like the way I'm going to play it. I can already tell people, like, why would you do that, Matt? Because I think he may knock him out. I just don't want to get burned, okay? So if you knock him out, at least I'll cover the bet and I'll be flat. I haven't been good in UFC betting, by the way. And I sure as heck don't want to lay the juice that it's going to cost to go ahead at minus 200 now. Let's see what the latest numbers are on this. It was 200 earlier today on this fight. I think in terms of it's now minus 450, okay? To give you an idea, okay? So knockout, we win money. Submission, we are flat. If it's by decision, we lose, or if Rozenstruik wins, we lose 1.1 units. So it's not that big of a deal. I'm 2-7, I think, in combat sports, but there's just not a lot of stuff to bet on today. So I'm going to get on here because it's a free bet. It's a free broadcast on ABC. So a lot of people are going to be watching this showcase fight. Almeida by knockout, that's a half a unit. Almeida by submission, 0.55, minus 110 to plus 198. I think those are the only 2 ways this fight ends. Let's hopefully see it end by knockout. We'll win some money on this here between these 2 fights. Rozenstruik is a dangerous fighter, though. He can knock him out. If he clips him early, could be lights out. This fight under 1.5 rounds at minus 210. You can use that in parlays. This fight probably goes under minus 1, but I'll have it in parlays. I'm not going to have it in anything else. I'm not laying minus 210 on an under with heavyweights, knowing it could go the distance pretty easily. It's a 5-round fight. It's a main event fight, so it's a 5-round fight to give you an idea. But because we could have a late submission, because we could have a late stoppage with a knockout by Almeida, I'm going with the young kid, the up-and-coming star, to get the victory here, and I don't think it'll be on the cards. All right, that's how we're betting the UFC event, UFC fight here. ABC's got that in the morning on the West Coast. Early start to our day. Rangers money line against the A's on Fox Sports 1 at minus 160, and we're going with the over 6 goals in the hockey game between Seattle and Dallas at minus 110. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt each and every morning. It is the Daily Juice Podcast being brought to you by BetMGM.